Hello, my name's John Gelkison, and as promised, I'm going to do a video uh, this afternoon on a hypothetical lighting ordinance for a city of the future. Now, I published yesterday on a personal history of the Las Cruces Outdoor Lighting Ordinance, which was passed in August of 2000. So, and having gone through the process, of course, there's a lot of compromises that have to be made, and to even get an effective ordinance of any kind. But let's just say someone made me lighting czar for the year or something, and said, John, just go ahead and craft an ordinance which will help us save energy and control the total amount of light that's possible to be put in the night sky. And so here it is. And really the numbers that you're going to see on this board here are based on really what is right now. So these numbers could be fudged a bit. But for example, you see here I have right here, excuse me, I need to turn this. I have 250 billion lumen hours per year for the city. And I got the same budget, 250 billion lumen hours for businesses. And I can't tell you exactly what the amount of lumen hours per year that businesses in Las Cruces use right now. But I do know roughly what the value is for the city just by having a count of their street lights and their lumens. So, but the whole impetus of this is a cap and trade system. And so my hypothetical outdoor lighting ordinance for a city of 100,000 people is 1 trillion lumen hours per year. Period. That's the whole budget. That's the total amount of light that can be used to light at night. And of that, only 10% of that could get into the night sky from ground reflectance with full cutoff fixtures. So you'd be down to like about 10 billion lumen hours per year would be broadcast into the night sky, and you divide that by 4,000, you'd get the figure of total lumens in the sky at any given instant. That would just be an average, of course. But the whole idea here is we actually give residences or homeowners a budget of 500 billion lumen hours per year. Now they don't need anywhere near a budget like this. So what we're doing here is limiting businesses to this 250 billion lumen hours per year. And we're allowing businesses and individuals to sell their million lumen hour budgets to other businesses. Now we wouldn't allow businesses or individuals to sell their budgets to other individuals. In other words, we don't want a homeowner installing billion lumen hours on his property to light it up like a Stellite 13 or something at night. So the goal here is to shortchange the business community and make them buy a lumen hours budget in order to accomplish the task they want. Now, if you take, and the cost per million lumen hours to sell them would be $5 per million lumen hours. So that would be a disincentive for folks to buy very much. A million lumen hours is about the equivalent of a 250 watt light bulb or something, so it's not very much. So if you wanted to make your budget stretch further, there's a concept called lighting the first half of the night. So if you only light the first half of the night and you shut off your light the second half of the night, you can literally double the amount of work that that budget can do. So right here we have this is the way large businesses could accrue more lighting for car lots, filling stations, stores, and so forth. And they could stretch their budget by lighting only the first half of the night and shutting off the lights. Now, how would all this be monitored? Everything would have to be computer monitored and controlled. And you may think this is far-fetched, but this is a city of the future. And I can tell you I've already seen this in person because I worked at New Mexico State University for a central utility plant, and we had a fellow there who had the whole campus on computers, and they could monitor and control some of the lighting and so forth from those computers. Now obviously they were working on installing this system over time, so it didn't control everything, but potentially it can be done, and it is being done already. So a city could do this. All lighting would be LED lighting and would only be allowed to have a CCT of 3000 Kelvin only. And there would be a foot candle cap of 35 foot candles for storefronts, gas stations, and so forth. They wouldn't be allowed to install more than 35 foot candles. Anyway, all these numbers could be adjusted if let's say we move into a future, which I think we are, of more global warming and carbon budgets and so forth, and a city wanted to really install controls over the amount of outdoor lighting that was being used, and more of the electrical grid was being shifted over to charging electric cars at night, so it wouldn't be needed for to try to balance the load off of lighting, which has always been an impossible task anyway. Then this would be a very good lighting ordinance to pass. But these numbers can be adjusted. I'm just throwing this out there, and I'm trying to use big round numbers. That's why I chose 1 trillion and 250 billion and 500 billion for homeowners and so forth. So, and also there would be no day burners. And in my lighting ordinance, in the lighting ordinance for Las Cruces, we did manage to get in a floodlight aiming template, which I didn't talk about yesterday, which mandates that all floodlights are pointed down at such an angle that there is no light in the glare zone or at 15 degrees below the horizontal plane. So you have to see the ordinance for that. But let me flip this over here and show you how the math is done, because some of you may be interested in reproducing this, okay? Now the math is fairly simple, really. It works out to $10 per year per person, which is roughly what we're spending now. Although this is for all the lighting, and we're probably spending $7 or $8 per year per person for street lights already. But these are the older, more energy inefficient street lights. So anyway, you take your lumens hours per year that you're allowed in your budget, you divide it by 4,000, and that just gives you your lumens installed. Okay? So if you want to do just the first half of the night, you take your lumen hours per year and divide it by 8,000, and that gives you lumens for your first half of the night. So 1 trillion over 4,000 hours a year of operation is 2.5 billion lumens installed. 2.5 billion lumens installed over a population of 100,000 people is 2,500 lumens per person. However, the actual homeowner or an individual, for the total 100,000 population, they have a 500 billion lumen hour budget, so that's over 4,000, and it equals 12,500 lumens per person. So times 4,000, that equals 5 million lumen hours per person per year. and they could sell all 5 for $5 a piece. So that would be $25 per year if a person wanted to sell their total lighting budget. But they might just want to keep 1 or 2 million lumen hours. And so if you have a household of 3 people, they could earn up to $75 a year by selling their total budget. And if they wanted to just keep one of them, they could sell $50 per year and keep one of the 5 million lumen hour budgets for lighting their front and back porch and so forth. But they wouldn't really need that. With controls, motion sensors, timers, whatever, they could limit the amount of light they use to light their resident to the first half of the night, or only motion censored, or only when you turn on the light switch, or whatever. So, and a person could just sequester their whole budget. They could take a family of 3 could take their whole budget, hardly ever use any outdoor lighting at their home, and not allow it to be sold, and keep it out of the sky, period. There's no potential for it to ever get there. So this is kind of a big, vast democracy we're performing here with lighting budgets. So this is a cap and trade process. And so businesses, there's about 11,250 businesses in Las Cruces, which has about 100,000 population. So they would end up getting a lumens budget of 5,555 lumens per business. Now, of course, that's any business, whether small, large, it makes no difference. So a small business could sell their budget to a larger business and so forth. And that way a car lot or whatever could accumulate more lumens. So, so total light pollution is times, it's about 10% of a full cutoff lighting fixture. The light is bounced off the ground into the night sky. So you end up with about 100 billion lumen hours per year of light pollution, or 25 million lumens of LP at any one given instance. In practice, there'd be more light pollution in the first half of the night, as I said, as much as 50% more, because people would want to conserve their budget for the first half of the night when their businesses are more active and there's people out and about. And the total, and that includes the city too. There's no reason for all these street lights to be lit all night long, when they could be shut off at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, whatever, and only light intersections, for example. There's just not that many people out, and there's no reason for it. This dawn to dusk idea, or dusk to dawn, I mean, it's just really a bad idea for energy consumption standpoint, from an energy consumption standpoint. Anyway, the total cost works out to be $1 million per year. Now, I've seen city budgets for our city, and I think it works out to about $250,000 a year. But you have to realize that I've never seen a budget for the whole city for all outdoor lighting. No one's ever broken it down this way. But under this schedule right here, it would work out to be $1 million per year for 100,000 people, which is that $10 per year per person figure. But that's for all lighting. And since we're using only LEDs, which is 100 lumens per watt, the amount of bang for the buck here is a lot more efficient. And it probably wouldn't end up being $1 million because, as I say, some people just simply wouldn't use their budget. And they wouldn't sell it either. And I wouldn't, for example. So anyway, there you go. This is a hypothetical outdoor lighting ordinance for a city of the future. It's all computer controlled, and it's all full cutoff lighting. It's all LEDs, 3000 Kelvin, and it has a great deal of incentive in it for people not to use lighting, to sell our lighting budgets to people who need it, and to not use lighting in the second half of the night. So I think it touches all the major bases that we would need in a really good outdoor lighting ordinance. And as I say, these numbers can be fudged a bit, and it doesn't have to be 1 trillion lumen hours per 100,000 people. But it's a really good round number for me to work with and work out all this math. So there you are, and I'm going to shut it down for here, and I hope you enjoyed this video.